This is the World Financial Report on radio with Harold Siegel. My name is Randy Marshall. Joining us via the telephone, our financial and diamond expert, Harold Siegel. We're taping the show on February 21st, 2014. Our time is 8:39 in the morning Mountain. Radio show runs on your favorite radio stations. Also, the shows are archived and streaming live on Harold's websites, HESradio.com and RareColoredDiamonds.com. We have a podcast through iTunes. The radio show is portable. We go anywhere you do. Have iTunes on your portable device. All you need to do is subscribe to the show. It will show up there. You can listen to it anytime you want. Just type in World Financial Report on radio in the iTunes search box. When it comes to investing in gold, silver, platinum, palladium, there's only one company Harold recommends you use. That is Worldwide Precious Metals. Their website, wwpmc.com. Their telephone number, 1-866-623-2002. Harold's website for diamonds. We'll talk about those later in the show. RareColoredDiamonds.com. The telephone number, 1-800-432-1022. And Harold's auction site is hsfineauctions.com. It was interesting. A couple of weeks ago, we spoke on the show about a bank in England where if you had a bank account and you wanted to take out a large sum of money, you had to prove to them what you were going to be spending it on before they would allow you to take the money out, which is absolutely absurd. Eventually, they reversed that policy because of complaints. On last week's show, we had Europe considering wholesale savings confiscation. That was a story from Reuters. We have it in the newsletter this week. Now we have another story that we found this week. It's in our newsletter. Money launderer until proven innocent. Italy imposes 20% tax withholding on all inbound money transfers. And they talk in the story about how Europe, they talk about how things are so much better, and yet in Italy, you have to basically prove that this money is not compensation or income, or they're going to take 20% of it if you're transferring money into the country. Harold, very interesting times that we live in. You have a bank making you explain why you're spending your own money in your own account, and then you have Europe considering basically bail-ins on a massive level if needed. And now in Italy, we have a scenario where you're a money launderer unless prior request for exclusion. And it's a very crazy time we're in, and that's why we advocate hard assets, gold, silver, and diamonds.
Probably the best reason to own hard assets, as you just mentioned, gold, silver, and diamonds, is exactly for the reason that you just read. I'm shaking my head, to be honest with you, Randy. That is the most ridiculous thing I have ever seen. This is money coming into their own bank, and they want to impose a 20% tax, and you're a money launderer until you're proven innocent. I mean, where in the world is this going to? The banks are just out of control. You know, there's stories about bankers killing themselves and committing suicide all over the world right now, and the only reason that I can think of that they would be doing something like that is because they know they're going to be caught for crimes that they've done in the past. Why else would they possibly do that? So, you know, what's happening in the banking system is abominable. I just really cannot believe from day to day the stories that we're reading from extremely credible sources. These came from Reuters, so, you know, this is 100% true, and again, being accused of being a money launderer until you're proven innocent because you're having money sent in. I mean, businesses do that every single day. Businesses will come to a standstill if these banks continue with these egos that they have and continue to do the things that they've been doing. And again, if it's happening in Cyprus and it's happening throughout Europe, it's going to be happening in North America very soon also, because all of these banks work off of the same model. It's one of the most frightening things that I could ever possibly imagine, to think that we're not going to be able to get to our money when we need it. This is absolutely something that I believe in the United States and Canada will cause riots. It's not going to be the same scenario as in Cyprus, where people, you know, basically accepted what the banks and the government said. That would never happen here. There would be issues like we wouldn't believe. So, again, as this thing continues to unfold, You don't wait for these situations to be on top of you. You have to be proactive. You've got to understand why these situations are happening, where these banks and governments are going to because of desperation, and then make certain that it doesn't happen to you. We cannot adopt the philosophy of misery loves company. We're all in the same situation together. We're not in the same situation together. Unless you just follow what everybody else is doing, then you're going to be in a similar situation and have to accept what the government and what the banks are doing to you. But if you're proactive and you understand that because this is happening in other parts of the world and it's only a matter of time till it happens here, now is the time to get started to make sure that it doesn't happen to you. You know, we work extremely hard. All of us do. We show up every day, we do our jobs, we feed our family, we do the best that we possibly can, and now, you know, for the past several years, under extremely difficult times. And now on top of that, we have to worry about keeping our money in a bank that we always felt was safe before, which obviously is not anymore. Cyprus proved that to us, that they were able to steal money and then give people worthless bank stocks, and people actually accepted that because there was nothing that they felt that they could do. Again, this is happening right in front of our very eyes, and again, I know myself personally, there's no way in the world that I would let that happen to myself and my family and my business, so I've already taken steps to make certain that that doesn't happen. And if you want to know, you know, what I'm doing or what our plans are, give me a call. I'd be more than happy. As any listener, I talk to clients every single day. If you want to know what you need to do in order to get through what is coming our way, and again, you're reading into the papers every day, we need to be smart about this. You can't wait till it's already happened because it's going to be too late at that point. Now we're looking at a very strong situation in metals. You know, there's a reason why the metals markets are moving higher, and some of them we just discussed. People are starting to get nervous again, and when people start to get nervous, they start to run to the hard asset market. Gold, silver are doing extremely well. They're having banner starts to the year already, and diamonds are hitting records also. So obviously, those are the markets that we want to start to look at for safety and for profit. Now, basically, the gold market has done tremendously well, and it started off the year extremely strong because in the end of 2013, we were looking that gold was trading at 1182. And now February the 18th, as we're taping the show today, we're looking that gold is up to 1,300 and a quarter. So basically, we've seen about a 12.5% increase in the price of gold. There's a reason for that. The reason is that people are starting to get nervous again, and the fact is that they're realizing that the stock market is basically coming is starting to teeter off, and there's more volatility in the market, and it's probably not the market that most people thought it was going to be. So basically, you have to start looking at other opportunities. You know, we first started recommending gold at $250 back about 13 years ago. It made a gigantic move all the way up to $1,900, from $250 to $1,900, and we recognized gold back then as a tremendous opportunity, and we recommend gold and silver as a tremendous opportunity again today. In actual fact, the lows in the market at 1180, there was very heavy support in gold at $1,180. That's why the market never fell below that price. 1180 is a very strong floor for the price of gold. So then what we saw at the beginning of this year is that gold, as it bottomed out at the 1180 level, it was now going to try to take out the next major line of resistance, which basically was the 1250 level. And it took several attempts to do so, but we took out 1250. We had two closes above 1250, and that confirmed that the market was going higher, and it did go higher. In actual fact, it confirmed that gold was going to attempt to hit and break the 13 and a quarter level, which is a very heavy resistance level for gold. And all this week, we've spent at 1323 and 1324. So, again, these support and resistance levels are extremely important if you're going to make decisions as to where gold and silver and other commodities and stocks are going to go to. If you know how to read a chart, these type of situations will fall into your lap. You'll be able to understand where the support and resistance levels are and where the next rallies are going to come from. So basically, gold hit the bottom at 1180. When it hit 1180 at December 31st, basically everybody was bearish on gold. But now at the beginning of the year, it went to 1250, which was a substantial move, and now it's trying to break 13 and a quarter. Now, we've broken 13 and a quarter. In fact, we broke it this morning. We're taping this show on Friday, and basically gold hit 1326. It's trading right now at 1323, so we're very close to that 13 and a quarter level. If we get two closes above 13 and a quarter, this is where it really gets interesting, because gold could rally all the way up to 1650, about a $325 move. Now, what in the world would make gold run up $325 at this point? The exact same reasons why gold went from 1180 to 1250, from 1250 to 13 and a quarter, and now possibly up to the 1600 and change level. And I do believe that is very possible. The reason that that could happen is, number one, is that the market is void of sellers at this particular point, so the chances of gold going lower is not very good at this time. The chances of gold going higher is substantially strong because number one, of the banking situation, number two, of the currency situation. There is a direct correlation between gold and the U.S. dollar, and it's extremely important, and it's important if you're going to move forward in these markets and understand how gold and silver trade and how the currency markets trade, you have to understand that there's a direct correlation between gold and the dollar. As gold goes up, the dollar goes down, or it's actually vice versa. When the U.S. dollar weakens, gold becomes much stronger. In the 90s, when the U.S. dollar was the strongest currency and the U.S. stock market was strong and the overall economy was strong, there was no need to invest in gold. Gold was at $250. Nobody paid any attention to that market whatsoever. However, as things started to change and we started to see the U.S. dollar start to weaken and problems in the United States, and then there was banking situations, and then there was mortgage, problems, and 9/11 happened, and all this was going on, and the U.S. dollar started to sink and sink and sink, and it went from being the strongest currency to one of the weakest currencies. And as I mentioned before, a weak U.S. dollar is very good for gold, and that's exactly what we saw happen. As the U.S. dollar fell further and further, gold got stronger and stronger. In actual fact, as the U.S. dollar got down to the 80-cent level, gold was already trading at that point from 250 all the way up to about the 1,300 level, which is ironically where the market is right now. 80 cents in the U.S. dollar equates to about 13 and a quarter in the gold market. Now we're sitting right now at about 80 cents in the U.S. dollar, to be exact, 80.20. There is minor resistance or support at 80 cents, but the major support for the U.S. dollar is at 78.5 cents, and I'm pretty sure we're going to hit that fairly soon. So 78.5 cents in the U.S. dollar would bring gold up to around the $1,500 to $1,600 level, which again equates to the price that I just mentioned to you, 16 and a quarter gold. If the U.S. dollar drops to 72.5 cents, which it did in 2011 when gold went to $1,920, we would be back up at around the $1,900 to $2,000 level in gold again. So that's the correlation between gold and the U.S. dollar. As the U.S. dollar continues to weaken, gold will get stronger and stronger, and basically this is the same for silver. Silver right now is trading right at around $22. We'd like to see a couple closes above $22.80. At that point, we'd be looking all the way. If gold was to go back up to 1650, we'd literally see silver go back up to about $28.50 to $30 at that particular point, and realizing that the all-time high for silver is $50, I'm pretty sure we're going to take out that number. So, again, there's a lot of things going on at this particular point. The other thing that's happening that you should be aware of is what's happening in oil. Oil spent this entire week above $100, and as we're taping the show, we're almost at 103 in the oil market. High oil prices are extremely inflationary, and there's no way that they're going to be able to hold down the price of oil. They've tried to suppress it in the past, but the trend is always your friend, and the trend for oil is substantially higher. It would not shock me to see oil go back up to the 120 level sometime this year. The currency markets are all over the place, as most countries have their interest rates at zero, so their currencies are not doing well at all, and that is what's going to push the price of gold and silver substantially higher. The other thing to watch is the explosive prices in commodities. You've seen commodities over the last couple of years bottom in the food like corn, wheat, soybeans, sugar, coffee, those type of things, but they're now starting to build a strong base, and they're starting to move higher again. Add to the fact that oil prices are over 100, food prices are going to start to enter into another bull market, which is extremely inflationary, because basically higher food and higher oil costs will take away most of most people's paychecks. So again, this is what we're looking at. We're looking at commodities starting to move higher again. Oil back over 100. The U.S. dollar starting to sink again. Gold is up almost 13% for the first 2 months of the year. So is silver. So things are starting to fall into place again. And again, we need to be on the right side of the fence. You cannot wait until these banks fail and steal our money. It's like, closing the barn door after the, horses have already run away. So let's be smart about this. Let's make certain that we have everything set, because we are going to wake up one morning and find out that we're knee-deep in trouble because all these things are starting to unwind. Look what's happening in Venezuela, and look what's happening in the Ukraine. Hundreds and hundreds of people have been killed and injured, and, there's problems all over the place, and the worse and worse the financial situations get, this is going to become the normal. So, again, we need to be smart about this. Don't wait till it's already upon us. Let's be proactive. Make sure that we own physicals, physical gold, physical silver, physical diamonds. Not only will we get through these difficult times, but we're going to be on the top of the rung of the ladder, because we're going to make the right financial decisions when most people will not be.
Worldwide Precious Metals is a Canadian company out of Vancouver, a leading Canadian and worldwide precious metals bullion dealer recommended by Herald for over 10 years. They are the experts in this very specialized market, and they're the ones to trust and work with on a daily basis when you allocate the money that you have towards hard assets like gold and silver, platinum, palladium. You can start your own precious metals investment account with Worldwide. All the gold is allocated either wholesale or premium. If you don't understand that, they will explain it to you. Worldwide is there to help you maximize the profit, minimize the risk, and you will have instant liquidity, meaning you can buy and sell in and out of the market with just a phone call. You'll have 24/7 online access. The metal can be stored on your behalf pretty much anywhere in the world, insured to the full value of your investment. And as I mentioned, you can ask about domestic or foreign storage, in premium storage, in specific coin and bar form. Stored metal is outside the banking system, which is very important, obviously, because of what we spoke about off the top of the show. And Worldwide had those seminars in Edmonton and in Toronto about the banking system, and if you went, you realized how shaky things are. That's why we're saying get some money out of the banking system, have some hard assets, gold and silver, start your own precious metals investment account, and the metal can be delivered to your door. Worldwide has worldwide access to the physical bullion you want and need today. You can connect with them at www.pmc.com. Their telephone number 1-866-623-2002. They have an outstanding website, and it goes through all the different reasons why you should own and invest in hard assets today. One of the big reasons gold went all the way past $1,900, about $1,920, is because of the financial crisis. And there's one story that caught my attention this week. It's very important. Jim Brown was quoted as saying, and this is from Art Cashin, China has $1.8 trillion in trust products, and a large portion of those could default this year, meaning we could have another financial banking crisis on our hands. More than 43% of these trusts come due in 2014, and 80% mature over the next 2 years. The trusts in China take investor money and lend it out to companies that can't get financing from banks. This is in part what they call the shadow banking system that China is trying to control. Investors get a higher interest rate, but recent defaults suggest the system is about to implode. In January, the Credit Equals Gold Trust was poised to default on $495 million in obligations until a mystery group stepped in at the 11th hour and paid investors. It was rumored the People's Bank of China funded the bailout group to delay the impending trust disaster. Last week, a trust known as Songhu River No. 77 defaulted on payments to investors. The trust was relatively small at $48 million. The money was raised from wealthy clients of the Chinese Construction Bank, China's second largest lender. The promised yield was 9.8%. This was the fourth trust managed by Jinlin Trust that had defaulted in recent months. The amounts listed above are just a trickle compared to the $1.8 trillion in trust products, of which $778 billion will mature in 2014. If this trend continues, the resulting defaults could seriously undermine China's financial economy. And this is according to Bloomberg China's non-performing loans, which grew at $4.7 billion in Q4 to a record 592.1 trillion won. This prevents the banks from making new loans, and the defaults in the trust sector are dramatically slowing new investments. China's financial sector is a slow-motion train wreck, and the result could be very ugly. That, according to Jim Brown, and that was relayed by Art Cashin this week. Harold, we have about a minute left, but the reason we bring that story up, we warned people about the financial crisis, and I remember people saying, how did you know? Well, we could see it coming with the housing market. Now, we're starting to see things happen in China. This trust situation is one of them. Have hard assets in your portfolio today.
Are you kidding, Randy? 100%. I mean, never more important than we have at this particular point. Again, everything that you said, especially with the banking system, is so concerning. And when these banks start to fail, like we saw back in 2008, it's like a freight train, and you can't stop it because all the banks are interconnected, and they all seem to be in trouble at this particular point because, again, a lot of them are engaging in things that just don't seem right and don't seem legal. Again, I'm just appalled by a lot of the reports that we've had over the last couple of weeks on the banking systems all over the world, Randy. Again, it just reinforces the importance of owning assets outside of the banking system. It's never been more important than today.
Get our weekly newsletter. It's absolutely free. We send it out via email, free of charge every week. Get it from Worldwide. Ask them to send out that story. China has $1.8 trillion in trust products, and a large portion of those could default this year. Get that material from Worldwide, wwpmc.com, telephone number 1-866-623-2002, and obviously position yourself accordingly if you agree with us that you need to have insurance in your portfolio because of scenarios exactly like that. Going to come back and talk about diamonds. Big Blue Diamond was featured this week. We'll talk about it as the World Financial Report on Radio with Harold Siegel and me, Randy Marshall, continues right after this. Welcome back to the World Financial Report on Radio with Harold Siegel. My name is Randy Marshall. Joining us via the telephone, our financial and diamond expert, Harold Siegel. We're taping this show on February 21st, 2014. Our time is 9:04 Mountain. Radio show runs on your favorite radio stations. The shows are archived and streaming on HESradio.com and RareColoredDiamonds.com. As well, we have a podcast through iTunes. Type in World Financial Report on Radio. You'll find our podcast. You can subscribe to it. It will come in every week. You can listen to it on your portable device. We go anywhere you do. When it comes to investing in gold and silver, there's only one company Harold recommends, and they've been in business for well over 10 years. They're the experts in this very specialized market. They're there to help you maximize profit, minimize the risk. They're named Worldwide Precious Metals. The website is wwpmc.com. The telephone number 1-866-623-2002. Speak with them. Let them educate you as to why you should have an allocation of precious metals at all times in your portfolio, good or bad. And now is a time more than ever, as we talked about the shadow banking system in China, to have that insurance policy in your portfolio. Connect with them, wwpmc.com, 1-866-623-2002. Harold's website for diamonds is rarecoloreddiamonds.com. Speak personally and privately with Harold about diamonds, 1-800-432-1022. His auction site is hsfineauctions.com. Our featured diamond of the week is a stunning 0.36 carat Princess Cut fancy purplish pink argyle. Another rarest of the rare museum-quality diamond that you will find at rarecoloreddiamonds.com. It's like going to a museum online when you take a look at all the diamonds that Harold has. Go to rarecoloreddiamonds.com, click on Featured Diamond of the Week. You can get our free weekly newsletter from Harold as well. He sends out our newsletter free of charge by email every week. Take a look at the stories on diamonds and the featured diamond as well. Every diamond has a video associated with it, and you can see that at rarecoloreddiamonds.com. It's absolutely stunning. One of the stories rather interesting this week, we had mentioned in the past there was a blue diamond, and the reason it got such attention is it's so rare that they find big blue diamonds anymore in mines. It's almost like winning the lottery or something. Petra Diamond sells 29.6 carat blue diamond for $26 million. And it was found in its Cullinan mine in South Africa. And it's interesting to mention, Harold, this diamond has not been cut yet. They will have to polish and cut this diamond and have to come up with a game plan to do it. They will probably give it a name as well at some point. It will be auctioned off down the road through either Christie's or Sotheby's. And who knows, maybe they'll approach hsfineauctions.com. But the truth of the matter is, it's so rare that they find these blue diamonds, and this thing isn't even cut yet. They have to sit down, and cutting a diamond like this, and I've spent a lot of time reading and researching, it can take a year, even longer, to cut some of these very expensive, rare diamonds.
Better believe it, Randy, and there's a gigantic risk to doing so. One wrong move, and that diamond becomes worthless. So again, it's pretty amazing to have a blue diamond that size. You need boron in the ground in order for a diamond to turn blue. Just think that just because there's a mineral present in the ground, it'll turn a diamond from white to blue, and the price is astronomical because at $26 million for the rough, once that diamond is cut, it's probably going to turn out to be about, depends again, but I'm guessing somewhere around an 18 karat blue, because a lot of it, will be cut away. Now the thing is that we don't know if it's going to be a fancy blue, a fancy intense, or a fancy vivid. If it's a fancy vivid blue, that diamond could sell for $3 million a carat. So that's how amazing those diamonds are. And again, it's only because that diamond turned blue because it was boron in the ground present in the mine situation. So it's just unbelievable. When these diamonds do come out, very, very seldom will you ever see a diamond of that size come out of a mine and be that valuable. So these are the most exciting times to be in the diamond business. Because, again, with all the fear in the marketplace at this point, it's an investment that makes sense. Because the fact is that we put our money in the bank, and at best we're getting 1 or 2% return on our money, which means that we're losing money by keeping it in the bank. So why would we keep money in the bank? Well, number one, we need to pay bills. Number two, we've always felt that it was a safe place to put your money, and we now know that it isn't. We now know that because of Cyprus, and now what's happening with the reports that we read today about Italy and England and China and all over the world, this is now starting to happen in the banking system. So if you're keeping too much money in the bank, number one, you're not making any money. Number two, your money is at risk. Everything that is not insured, everything over that is at risk, and there's no benefit keeping your money in that bank. Again, you do need to keep money in there, obviously, in which to pay bills, But as far as investments go and savings accounts type of thing, that makes no sense anymore because the risk is way too high and the returns are too small. So when the bank pays you 2% on your money and inflation is higher than that, and your taxes are obviously, whatever they are, you're losing money by keeping money in the bank. And then we could wake up one morning and find out that that bank is in trouble again, and now we can't get into the bank or we can't get to our money or whatever, and that's when things really start to get terrible. So you put money into different assets and you diversify to make sure that if this scenario does happen, that you're protected. Now, for those of you that think that the banks are fine and there is no problems and everything, then continue to go about your business and do what you've been doing. But that is not, in my opinion, a very smart move because it's just way too risky. And the fact is that in these type of markets where the stock markets and commodity markets and all the markets around the world are volatile and governments are bankrupt and they owe trillions of dollars and all this is going on, you need to have your money diversified in areas that if something does happen like the bank going under, that you have it in an asset that could be sold for you. And that's what diamonds bring to the table. There are certain diamonds that never, ever lose their value. They're so rare, and there's so few of them, that they don't lose their value. So that's one thing that's extremely important. Capital preservation, preserving your capital right now is probably one of the most important things that we could possibly do. And then there's the opportunity to make money. Again, right now, it's paramount to protect your money, to make sure that you don't lose it by something as simple as keeping it in the bank or putting it into the stock market. So you put some money into a diamond, either a yellow flawless diamond that increases by 15% a year, that has never, ever declined in value, that responds to inflation as well as gold and silver does, but most importantly, it's not have anything to do with the bank. And depending on what the currency markets are doing, we can sell your diamond wherever the currency markets are the best. And that's something that we've done in our company, is incorporate our businesses worldwide, so it gives us the option, when it does come about, that we could sell our clients diamonds in England for British pounds or Europe for euros or Japan for yens or whatever the scenario is, whatever makes sense at that point, we have the option to do that. And in other investments, you don't have that option. Commodities are traded and priced in U.S. dollars. And the fact is that the U.S. dollar is a difficult currency at this point, but so is the Japanese yen, and so are other currencies, and unfortunately, so is the Canadian dollar. The Canadian banks didn't get into trouble in 2008 when the U.S. banks and other banks did, because the Canadian banks were smart. They didn't speculate in the mortgage-backed securities and didn't buy into that. So why in the world are the Canadian banks and governments dropping the value of the Canadian dollar? The Canadian dollar is 11% below the value of the very weak U.S. dollar, and that doesn't make a lot of sense, except we know the Canadian government wants to promote exports, and obviously with a weaker Canadian dollar, that will help them in that respect. And it'll hurt us as Canadians when we go to travel. Because if you take your Canadian dollars and you go to Europe and you convert them to euros, you're going to lose about 30 to 40% of your money. 30 to 40% of your money is going to go into a currency that has no buying power. And if you go to England and actually put your currencies into British pounds, you're going to lose even more than that. So that's how you're going to feel it. That's how you feel when your dollar is weak, when you travel to a country where their currency is worth much more. Even going from Canada into Buffalo or into the United States or whatever, you're going to find that the Canadian dollar buys 11% less. So again, you want to take the right initiative. You want to go into the markets that is going to give you the opportunity to preserve your capital, to profit, and sell this product in a currency that's stronger than the currency that you're selling it, that you're buying in. So basically, that's one of the other major benefits of owning a diamond. So you buy a yellow flawless diamond. You invest $20,000. In 10 years, that diamond is going to be worth about $75,000 to $80,000. There's no other investments out there that give you that type of return with the safety that you have in the yellow diamond market. And these yellow flawless diamonds are so beautiful and of such high quality, and they're in very, very limited supply. It's not like there's thousands of them around. For an entire year, they maybe cut 100 of them, and that's for the entire world. And we probably sell 80% of those. So basically, it makes sense to take some of your hard-earned money and not put it at risk and put it into a diamond for safety and for profit, and something that if, the problems persist like this, that we could sell in another currency in Europe or in Asia or wherever. Then you've got the Argyle pink diamonds. They increase by, before I get into the Argyles, let me go as far as to say that the fancy yellow flawlesses go up by about 15% a year. So do the intenses. They may go up a little bit more because the color is more saturated and much stronger. It's the fancy vivid yellow flawlesses that go up by about 40 to 50% a year now because they're in very tight supply. They're the very best that you can possibly buy, and the color reflects the price. Vivid yellow is the most expensive and the highest quality yellow diamond you can get. Ours are all flawless, and the prices are just increasing substantially because of the value and because there's so few of them available. Now we go into the pink diamonds from the Argyle mine. Similar situation. They never decline in value because the mine that produces them is going to close soon, in less than 6 years. And the price of these diamonds go from anywhere from 15% to 50% higher in a year, again with the vivid pink Argyles, which are in very tight supply, making the biggest returns. Anytime you buy the very best, you always get the most back for it, but there's still nothing wrong with investing in a fancy pink or a fancy intense pink because they increase in value tremendously also. The closer we get to the mine closing, the higher and higher these prices are going to go. And this is an opportunity that you definitely do not want to miss because you will never, ever get another opportunity to buy a diamond from a mine that is not going to be in existence within a few years from now. There's no other diamonds that are being produced in this world that have the same scenario as the Argyle mine. It produces 95% of the world's pinks, and simply, they're going to be gone soon. The prices, the colors are starting to deteriorate. There's brown coming into the mine. Now you got brownish pinks instead of purplish pinks or beautiful, pinks because the mine is coming to a close and they're just not producing anymore. So you want to own these amazing colored diamonds, the ones that we bring to auction for you, the ones that we have on our website. They're just absolutely amazing diamonds, and dollar per dollar will outperform pretty well any asset out there. So between the yellow flawlesses, these amazing Argyle pinks, these deep flawless white diamonds that are basically negative correlated to the stock market. When the stock market falls, these diamonds increase in value. So again, we're just looking at a tremendous scenario in the diamond market. And when I brought this market to you about 10 years ago, nobody even knew about this market. Nobody knew about the colored diamond market, and we brought it to you, and we've done tremendous things with this business. My major expertise is in marketing. And basically, when I look at a market like colored diamonds that have the track records that these diamonds have and the shortages and the limited supply, it's a natural thing to be able to create, a scenario where there's a supply and demand situation because there's so few of them available anyways. And we don't need to create any situation for Argyle because basically Argyle's doing that on their own. The mine's been in production since 1985. It was the largest producing diamond mine in the world, producing 30 million carats of diamonds a year. But those were all low-grade industrial white diamonds used to cut other diamonds. The real value of the Argyle mine is in its pink diamonds and some blues and some other diamonds that very rarely come out of this mine that are so rare and so valuable that they're amongst the best investments you can get. So again, if you're understanding what's going on in the world markets today, if you understand that the banks are in big, big trouble because of things that the banks have done over the years that have been so illegal and so risky that we're now going to start to pay for that. We cannot be ignorant about the fact that these banks are in trouble, and that's why they're putting into operation these rules and regulations that never ever existed before. Again, wiring money into your account and paying a 20% tax, are you out of your mind? Who in the world would do that? Nobody would accept that. And that's what the banks are resorting to because they have no control over their situation anymore. And again, we don't even know how bad the situations are for these banks because they're liars, number one, and they don't disclose anything to you. And you're only going to find out about it when we wake up in the morning, go to the bank, and find out that we can't get to our money anymore. That's why you need to diversify. That's why you need to own physical assets that you own yourself, that you hold on to yourself. Physical gold, physical silver. Don't trade futures contracts. Don't trade ETFs. Don't trade anything that is not physical. And then on top of that, diamonds are also physical. We ship these diamonds directly to you. You own them outright. We ship them directly to your door. And they are magnificent, and they're all certified through the Gemological Institute of America, and everybody who owns them just is in disbelief when they get to their door how magnificent these pieces are. And again, many make them into jewelry, but dollar per dollar, there's no better investment than what we're going through right now than hard assets, and it's been proven almost on a daily basis. Here's a rough blue diamond that comes out of the mine that is not even cut and polished yet, and it's already at $1 million a carat. That'll be a $3 million a carat diamond. And again, how exciting is it to know that this is the market that we're all getting involved in? Again, it's not for everybody. Diamonds are a longer-term investment. You don't buy a diamond today and sell it in a year or 2 or 3 years. You're not going to make any money. You own it for long-term gains and for safety of your money because, as I mentioned before, we could sell diamonds and other currencies for you and not only make a profit on the diamond but also on the currency market, and that's what we do. We're going to have another auction coming up in March. I don't 100% want to verify it, but I will next week. But it appears that the date we're looking at is March the 26th, which is a Wednesday evening, but we'll bring more to you next week. Our auctions are becoming extremely popular and famous all over the world. We have people that are talking about our business because we built the only secondary market ever to resell diamonds, and that's what we brought to the table. It's never been done before. It's a very exciting process. Those of you that have attended our auctions understand that it's the only company of its kind. It's a virtual auction business where we can have people bidding on our diamonds from China, Australia, England, Canada, the United States, all at the comfort of their own home. On their computers. Never been done before. There's nothing I've ever been more proud of than the contribution that we're making to the diamond business in the form of creating a secondary market to resell our clients' diamonds and high-end collectibles. And all you have to do is look at the last auction we had. We had 18 items up for bid, and every single one of them sold. And another major factor about our auctions is that it normally takes about an hour for these auctions. They last about an hour for us to sell 18 to 20 items, which is in itself is unbelievable. However, the last auction, we sold 18 items in an hour and a half. It took an extra half an hour because there was such a large amount of bidding on almost every single piece that came up for auction, with the biggest one being a pure orange diamond. It was only a third of a carat, at 0.35, but it ended up getting 35 bids and sold for a tremendous price. So, again, we're ecstatic about what's happening. We're ecstatic about our contribution to the diamond business. And, again, there's a reason why we've been on Bloomberg 3 times and other markets like that because of what we bring to the diamond business. So, again, we certainly want your business. We certainly want to help you, and we want to help you get to where you need to go. And we're experts in the diamond business. So give us a call. Go to our website, rarecoloreddiamonds.com, and look at our supply of diamonds. Now, I brought it up last week that we sold the majority of our Argyle pink diamonds. One large group of investors came in from Europe and bought the majority of our Argyle pinks. Now what I'm actually doing is going back into my private diamonds that I've owned for many, many years and have to bring them back onto the marketplace because, again, there will be a shortage moving forward of Argyle pinks. Now, on top of that, we're just finishing off cutting and polishing our latest Argyle pink diamonds that we bought from our tenders and from our mines type of thing. So we should have, within the next week, a brand new supply of Argyle pink diamonds, not to the extent that we had before because they're becoming less and less and less, but you're going to pay attention to the website rarecoloreddiamonds.com and see our beautiful new Argyle pinks coming online. Similar situation with yellows. We had basically 300 yellow diamonds, yellow flawless diamonds, basically in our supply, and now we don't have anywhere close to that. They bought most of our yellow flawlesses also. So we have some new ones coming online, but again, you're talking about investments that are being bought up because they're the best investments around and they're safe. So again, stay tuned for the next couple of weeks. You'll see some beautiful new diamonds coming onto our website. The prices of these diamonds are only going up in value, so don't be conned by a lot of these companies out there that are just popping up in the business selling diamonds for cheap. There's a reason. If they're cheap, there's a reason for it, because they're not the same quality as the South African diamonds that we show. So there's no deals on diamonds right now. The deals are in the currency markets, and that's why these investors from Europe came and bought our diamonds, because the British pound and the euro was worth so much more than our currency, and that's what the same thing that we're going to do for you. So, Randy, I've never been more excited. The diamond market is on fire. Gold and silver are starting to rally again. Oil's over $103 a barrel. Canada, the Canadian women, won the most exciting hockey game I think I've ever seen in my lifetime on Thursday. And as we're taping this show on Friday, I know as Canadians we're all, so excited to see the U.S.-Canada hockey game amongst men today at 10 o'clock Mountain and 12 o'clock Eastern time. So it's a proud time to be Canadians, and again, we've done tremendously well in the Olympics. In fact, we're sitting in third, just behind the U.S. and Russia. We've done a phenomenal job this year.
Yes, we're all very, very excited. And when Harold speaks of pink diamonds, we do have a featured diamond of the week that is pink. It's a .36 carat princess cut fancy purplish pink Argyle. Now, the fancy purplish pink diamonds from Argyle are very popular at auction right now. If you go back over the last 4 months, actually 4 or 5 months, we have auction results for you from September until the end of 2013. We can send those out to you. Take a look at those auction results. A lot of the top diamonds were, as Harold mentioned, the yellows, but the purplish pink Argyles did very well at auction. We can send the auction results out to you. Take a look at rarecoloreddiamonds.com, featured diamond of the week. There's a video that goes along with it. Speak with Harold personally and privately. Let him educate you about this exciting market. 1-800-432-1022 to speak personally and privately with Harold about rare colored diamonds. Rarecoloreddiamonds.com. Harold's auction site is hsfineauctions.com. One of the stories we had in our newsletter, and I encourage you to get our free weekly newsletter from Harold. He'll be happy to send it out to you via email free of charge every week, is that story about Petra Diamond selling a 29.6 carat blue diamond for $26 million. This is a rough diamond, and it's interesting to note that the estimate on it was, and this was an analyst, Kaylee Barker at Brokers Numis, had estimated in January that the diamond could fetch between 15 to 20 million at auction. Now that diamond ended up selling for 26 million rough. They haven't even polished this. They haven't even cut this diamond. Just imagine what it will be worth when they take it to auction with either Sotheby's or Christie's, some major auction house. They will no doubt put a name on this diamond, and it will be polished and cut. The price, Harold, and we have about a minute and a half left here. The price on it, the estimate was 15 to 20 rough. It sold for 26 million rough. Yeah, I bet this is quite easily anywhere from a $35 to $40 million diamond at some point.
It probably will be, but don't lose sight of the fact that it has to be cut. And the fact is that a 26 carat rough is going to cut down to maybe around 18 or 20 carats if they're lucky. So even if it comes out vivid, they're going to get close to $3 million a carat for it. So you're right, that diamond, if it did turn out vivid, could actually be a $50 to $60 million diamond. I wouldn't doubt that at all.
Harold, thank you for another outstanding show and all your knowledge, and I agree with you. Good luck to Team Canada, and thank you all Canadians who competed for Canada at the Olympics. You did an outstanding job. We're all very, very proud of you.
You better believe it, Randy. It's so exciting. I can't wait to watch the game today. And again, I just want to wish everybody a wonderful weekend and a very profitable day.
Speak with Harold about diamonds, rarecoloreddiamonds.com, telephone number 1-800-432-1022, Harold's auction site, hsfineauctions.com, and speak with Worldwide Precious Metals. Get that article that we touched on earlier in the show. China has $1.8 trillion in trust products, and a large portion of those could default this year. Speak with them about the two charts we have in our newsletter this week as well on gold and silver from Citi analyst Tom Fitzpatrick, with it showing a lot of upside in gold and silver. Connect with Worldwide, wwpmc.com, telephone number 1-866-623-2002. That's it. Another edition of the World Financial Report on Radio with Harold Siegel and me, Randy Marshall. We will talk to you next week.